UK flag carrier British Airways boasts a large and diverse fleet of aircraft. The London-based One World founding member has more than 250 aircraft at its disposal, with a further 23 at its regional subsidiary BA City Flyer. In 2022, we see the Airbus A380 return to widespread service at the airline following a pandemic-induced hiatus. Let's take a deeper look at the entire British Airways fleet as it stands this year. There are presently 254 aircraft in British Airways' mainline fleet. Of these, more than half make up its narrow-body fleet, which consists entirely of Airbus jets. The smallest of these are its A319s, of which it currently flies 30. The airline had been one of the few operators of the A318, but the type was retired in March of 2020. This lone baby bus had been used on the airline's special BA1 service from London City Airport to New York JFK. The unique all-business class service made a westbound stop in Shannon, Ireland for refuelling and US Customs pre-clearance. The most numerous narrow-body at BA is the larger A320, with 67 examples present in the fleet. The next-generation A320neo is also playing an increasing role at British Airways. The airline has received 17 examples to date, and it has another 5 on order. When it comes to the stretched fuselage A321ceo variant, all 18 examples in the British Airways fleet are presently listed as inactive. These are some of the airline's oldest aircraft, with an average age of 16.5 years. Meanwhile, all 10 of its much younger A321neos are active. The airline also has a further 2 examples of the A321neo on order. While Airbus is the dominant force at BA in terms of narrow-body jets, its US competitor Boeing has a greater share when it comes to twin-aisle aircraft. The Boeing 777 family is especially popular, with 43 777-200ERs and 16 777-300ERs currently in the fleet. Interestingly, British Airways was the global launch customer for the GE 90-powered Boeing 777. In November 1995, the first Boeing 777 powered by these engines was delivered to the airline during ceremonies in Everett, Washington. More recently, some of the airline's 777s made the news, but for all the wrong reasons. On January 26th of this year, the aircraft's door came off the plane while it was being towed in Johannesburg, South Africa. Thankfully, no passengers were on board when the incident occurred. It had been suggested that the jet bridge was left extended to the aircraft, ripping off the open door as the plane was pushed past it. In addition to the 777's prominence at British Airways today, the 777 as a type will be a key part of the airline's future, especially with the retirement of Boeing 747-400s. While the 777X will eventually become the airline's flagship aircraft, Airbus had once put forward a bid involving the double-decker A380. The European plane maker had offered British Airways a mixed fleet of A380s, some new and some retired from other airlines, particularly Middle Eastern ones like Qatar or Emirates, that they would help source. With 2 full decks, the ample space would have allowed BA to be creative with their new Club World class, possibly even offering bars and showers to their premium guests. However, the airline declined the offer from Airbus, going with Boeing's 777X bid. CEO of British Airways at the time, Alex Cruz, was quite vocal about the decision. The proposition that Airbus put forth simply did not even come close to comparison with the Boeing offer, and that was a combination, as rumoured in the press, of new aircraft and used aircraft, etc. Cruz went on saying, "Imagine that we find a suitable used relatively new A380 whose owners don't want anymore. Think Malaysian, think Emirates, think Lufthansa. Imagine they give it to us at a really reasonable price. Everything breaks down the moment you start thinking about the inside of the aircraft. To put that into a lease rate, all of a sudden it takes the aircraft completely out of the market." British Airways eventually decided on 42 777-9s, made up of 18 firm orders and 24 options. This order is intended to replace the airline's 747 and aging 777 fleets. The airline had revealed that it would take delivery of these 18 777X jets between 2024 and 2027, although this is still subject to change. The airline had been expecting its first delivery in 2022, but Boeing has been continuously pushing its delivery schedule back. Boeing was due to deliver the first aircraft in 2020, but delays to the program have caused this to slip several times. While not centering on the Boeing 777-9, a 2021 report from IAG stated the following: "The group has certain rights to cancel commitments in the event of significant delays to aircraft deliveries caused by the aircraft manufacturers. No such rights had been exercised as at December 31, 2020. The airline is also notable for operating all three variants of the 787 Dreamliner family. At the time of making this video, CH Aviation shows 12 787-8s, 18 787-9s, and just 2 787-10s. The number of 787-10s is set to multiply in the coming years, with another 10 examples of the stretched Dreamliner on order." In interesting BA 787 news, December 2020 saw 3 of the airline's 787 Dreamliners sustain engine damage from foreign object debris while at Chicago O'Hare. The airline needed to perform heavy maintenance on the affected engines, resulting in unforeseen costs and cancelled flights. In December of 2021, the airline launched a suit against the city of Chicago, requesting over $3 million in damages. The airline's court filing says that while traversing the runway, the 3 aircraft's engines ingested debris that had been left behind following resurfacing and expansion work on one of O'Hare's terminals. Reportedly, the debris caused significant damage to all 6 engines, forcing BA to take the planes out of operation for several days. The airline states that the engines required complete teardowns and inspections, leading to the cancellation of several flights. BA claims that the City of Chicago, operator of O'Hare, neglected to fulfill its duties to keep the taxiways and runways free from debris, foreign objects, and other contaminants. Under federal laws, rules, and regulations, the City of Chicago had duties to inspect the taxiways and runways and to remove any foreign object debris left on the taxiways and runways following construction and resurfacing works, and the City of Chicago failed to meet these duties, British Airways said in the suit as reported by Law 360. Since news of the lawsuit emerged last December, no further information or developments on the case have been made public. Moving on to the rest of the airline's wide-body fleet, Airbus also still has an important role to play in this domain. Indeed, its A350-1000 was touted in May 2021 as a potential new flagship for the UK flag carrier. All 9 examples of the type are presently active, and they'll be joined in the coming years by another 9 A350-1000s. Last but not least, BA is also notable for being an ongoing operator of the double-decker Airbus A380. The Super Jumbo has had a difficult last couple of years, with airlines largely electing to sideline the type due to the pandemic. There are currently 12 A380s in BA's fleet, but only part of this fleet is active at the moment. The airline reintroduced the type on short-haul services in November 2021 before recommencing long-haul A380 operations a month later. This year will be a key year for the A380, and BA has already added it to 3 more US summer routes as travel looks to recover. The airline's active jets had all undergone heavy maintenance at Lufthansa Technik facilities in Manila since the start of the pandemic. This has included both the airline's youngest and oldest A380s. At the time of making this video, 8 of the Super Jumbos are listed as parked. Notably, Golf X-Ray Lima Echo Echo is being stored in Doha, while 2 others, Echo Bravo and Echo Kilo, are listed as being parked in Madrid. It may seem hard to believe, but it's been well over a year since the last British Airways Boeing 747-400 left London Heathrow Airport. The airline decided to scrap its remaining fleet several years early in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. October 8, 2020 is a day that'll go down in the British Airways history books. After around half a century of Boeing 747 flights in and out of London Heathrow, the Queen of the Skies left the airport in the Chatham Dockyard livery for the very last time. Some 57 Boeing 747-400s have flown with British Airways. The departure of the Boeing 747 from the British Airways fleet wasn't such a surprise. What was a surprise for many was the timing of the last flight, as British Airways had intended to retire the Queen of the Skies by 2024. The aircraft were intended to be replaced by the airline's outstanding 777-9 order. At the time, British Airways wasn't expecting demand to recover until around 2024 fully, and it didn't make sense to pay to maintain the jumbo jet, to maybe bring some of them back for 6 to 12 months. As you can see, British Airways operates quite a diverse fleet of aircraft, both big and small, both Boeing and Airbus. While it's sad to see the mighty Boeing 747 now gone from the airline, it'll be exciting to see the new 777X join in 2 or 3 years' time. So which BA aircraft have you flown on? What is your best or worst memory when flying with the airline? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.